this is who I am, Thomas Blakemore, and you can find me on all sorts of different social media, and there's my website there. So my relationship with ViewSonic has been fantastic. I've been able to use my ViewBoard a range of different times with my class, with a range of different people, and it's been really, really innovative in the ways that I've used it. So to start off with, just a little bit about who I am and what I do. So as we go through this, I'm going to introduce my ViewBoard and some of the different things that you can do, my education journey, what I look for in technology and how to potentially use it, along with introduction to my ViewBoard, the potential typical maths lesson that you can use, and then interactive elements that I use with my class and I found extremely useful. So this is me. Now, this is a bit of an insight into how we use my ViewBoard. At the moment, I'm just using some of the different tools down there. This is me as a learner with my brother. In school, I was someone who did okay academically with things like mathematics, but when it came to other elements like English, it was something that I did struggle with a little bit. I thrived in opportunities where there was chances for me to kind of perform in front of other people, chances for me to showcase what I know through articulation. And I loved exploring how you could use different bits like technology to support my knowledge and kind of showcasing that. Now, I did struggle with learning as a child. While I was okay with things like maths and technology and things like that, I found it extremely difficult to do things with written elements. As I became a teacher, I realized in my final year of university that I was actually dyslexic. And I realized quite soon on that I needed to utilize different resources, and a lot of the challenges that I had as a child, I was able to associate with different children. And I realized very quickly that some of the different things that I struggled with as a teacher were because I had some undiagnosed needs. And some of the technology that I utilized perhaps wasn't really effective at supporting my needs. So as I've become and I use this term, influencer, on social media, and whether it's in the classroom showcasing different things, my desires have stemmed from that kind of insecurity as a learner, the challenges that I faced as a teacher, to then hopefully utilizing a range of different tools that I can use, show other teachers, and that they can bring into their classroom to develop that experience. And it's been a real privilege to find some different tools that have helped me as a teacher, and hopefully, when I show you some of the different elements of my ViewBoard, you'll understand why that's important to me. And you'll understand how some of those challenges that I faced early on helped me to showcase some of those tools. So as a teacher, as a creator, all those different things, there are all sorts of things that I look for. When I'm showcasing different bits of technology to schools, whether it's to other learners, things like that, there are three key things that I look for. One, the tool has to have a purpose. I am looking for something that's a bit more of a one-stop shop, something where I don't have to learn all sorts of new, different skills. I want to make sure that we are getting a specific tool and something that I can learn once or twice and really help children in a range of different ways. When we look at purpose for tools, it's something that I can either show or something that I can tell children what to do. Accessibility. When I'm looking at technology, I want that technology to be accessible. But when I say accessible, I mean accessible in the classroom, but there are elements with it that I think should be financially accessible too. So one of the challenges that I sometimes face as a learner is that I get shown tools, and when I'm showing things to people, I find it hard sometimes when I have to say, yeah, this tool's available, but you have to pay X, Y, Z for it. So the tool that I'm going to show you today is free. Of course, there are elements to it that can be paid for, but any teacher can just pick this up and go with it. And when I'm looking at EdTech solutions to use inside the classroom, connectivity is one of the things that I really look for. So making sure that I'm connecting with other people, using things to support relationships, building things with children, making sure that I'm able to bring my class to life using those bits of technology too. So what I want to do in today's presentation is to kind of take you behind the scenes. I want to showcase how I use tools like myViewBoard as a primary school teacher, as a creator, and hopefully show you how you can use it with your class if you've got a class. Because as I've mentioned, it's free, helps with connection, and lots of things like that. So as we see here, there's loads of different tools. We've got the magic box down here, and through the magic box, we can see all the different files. What I love about this is that you can go through to the computer, and I can simply connect Google. I was from a Google school before, so I was using Google, and all of the different files that I had, whether it was presentations, PDFs, I could simply just tap on, bring it up, bring it to life, and I could bring it into the classroom. So this is what I want us to do. I want us to bring this into the classroom. I'm going to drag it on. And as I do that, you can see it's progressing, progressing, progressing. Here is the presentation. Welcome to my maths lesson, guys. Feel free to take a seat. This is the maths lesson that we're going to be having a go at, and this is myViewBoard Mastery. So what I want to do, this is my lesson. I'm going to choose all of the slides, and we're going to import it as a landscape there. So this is me. This is the lesson that we're going to do today, and hopefully bring down. Now, as you bring these presentations into myViewBoard, what I love and what I think is extremely clever is that the tools that are brought in, they come in as elements. They're not coming in as pictures. So although this is not a Google Slides, this is not a presentation, I can still move me around. I can still move the text around. And I think that, I don't know how they've done that, but I think that's extremely clever because then I can still bring this out. And then all of a sudden, I've got my own little pitch deck. So if you imagine that this is something that you've got here, here is my lesson. I can still bring my Google Slides to life because I can write beside it. So if we just say that that is me, and I can start to use some of those tools. Now, as we come into the pen, there's loads of different things available. Now, I always remember my primary school teacher, Mr. Phelps. He had one of those old school boards where it was the ones with the pens in the bottom. And he would always have that challenge where we'd come to a lesson, whether it be maths, English, something along those lines, and he'd not necessarily throw a strap, but it'd be like, okay, where's the pens? Where's the pens? And all of a sudden he had no way to teach the lesson. Sometimes, I'm going to be honest, although it wasn't me, there were people that would hide the pens because they think it's fun. It's one of those things. So you see, there's loads of different tools that I can utilize. One of my favorites is the AI pen. Now, I don't know about you. I'm not the best drawer. You might be. I'm able to use this to help me. We do this thing in English called Talk for Writing. And Talk for Writing is where you have a piece of writing, and instead of children just reading the writing and memorizing it, the children learn the piece of writing. And to do that, they have visualizations through images. So instead of just reading it, children are able to really understand the text by having images that are associated with this specific word. Laura and I were speaking earlier about dual coding. I guess it's a little bit of a play on that. Talk for Writing allows you to do that. But as you can imagine, when I've got a piece of text, the last thing I can do, if the lion went to the circus, I can't draw a lion. But if I wanted to try and have a go at doing something like that, then I can start to build that up, and the AI pen would start to go. Okay, there we go. There's our lion. Now it's the bat. But you can see, right, the lion went to the circus, and you can start to use the AI pen that's integrated into this, and you can imagine as I've got that text that's coming across, I'm showcasing all sorts of different features. I know, I said I wasn't a good drawer. So we continue with our maths lesson. So 3D shapes. This part of the lesson is you focused. So if you're with me, hopefully you can help me out with this. What I want you to do is on the pop quiz, I want you to tell me any 3D shape that you know. So if you've got your phone, Laura, give it a scan, and then you can write your name. Tap onto the icon that says the pop quiz. That's why I've got that in the little corner there. That's the pop quiz. What I sometimes do as well is I'll have a timer that I'll showcase in the corner. Right, guys, you've got 1 minute, 2 minutes. I'll show you how you access those different tools in a second. Is it working? Is it Wi-Fi? Yeah. Have you managed it? It's quiet. Yeah. So I haven't limited it to one answer. We've got, children can write their name and I can see that an input's come up. So I can then say, okay, we've got an answer from Val. I can tap on that and then cone. Perfect. So as I'm coming across, I can see different children's answers. If I wanted to keep them hidden, I can make it a bit of a surprise. Kind of see like, okay, let's see how we go. There's also the ability, I'll tap into here. Phil's got one. Phil's got a cube. Laura's got one. Okay, Laura, how are we getting on? Cube, perfect. Oh, you've actually got the same answer as Phil. So maybe you can talk about some of the different properties of 3D shapes there too. And you can see that all of a sudden that connectivity that I talked about before is great. Now, what I've done there is I've done a bit of a bit of a warm up of what 3D shapes are known. How are you able to do that? But as you can imagine, 3D shapes, I could stand, it could be like, okay, we found out that there's a cube. Go into the pens. We find out there's a cube. Okay, right, let's draw it. Oh, all of a sudden that's quite a challenge. So thankfully, here in the shapes, you can see that there's all sorts of different shape tools, things that you can utilize. Here we've got our 2D shapes, 3D shapes are there, and then I can go, right, cube. Okay, we're gonna go with that. And all of a sudden I can be asking questions about how you utilize those things. There's all sorts of, not got enough time to showcase all the different things that you can do with this, but there's different elements that you can utilize. This can be a spinner, so you can spin different names. You can have an arrow pointed. There's all sorts. So this is just a quick warm-up that I can use with my class, showcasing how you can use some of the different things with your class. Now, as I build that out, I can have this. This is called Infinite Canvas, and I have used this extensively in the past where I've got, okay, this is here. I've got some work up here from one child, and I've been taking ideas. And all of a sudden, throughout the lesson, thinking about that talk for writing where we've been doing different pictures, I've got my talk for writing text up here. I've got my actual text up here. And then I've got like an image that allows them to do that. So as we move on, we see that the text here is a little bit of a challenge. Now, I spoke earlier about some of the challenges that I have as a dyslexic teacher. That's something that I struggle with, but thankfully, there are all sorts of technology. I know we didn't speak about it. So as a dyslexic teacher, I've had some challenges in the past with reading off the board. Thankfully, you can do strategies where you'll sit children close to the board and you're able to look at how you use your classroom space. But there are technologies built into myViewBoard that allow you to really unpick the text even further. So Immersive Reader is fantastic because there's all sorts of different features that are built within Immersive Reader. Not only will it read the text to you and it has that dialogue built in, it can also have all sorts of different things. Now, it's a bit high for me. So there's language features so that you can make it a bit more dyslexia friendly by making the text bigger. You can change the text. We can have overlays. What I love as a teacher as well, if we're unpicking the text a little bit more, we can start to look at, okay, where are the adjectives? Okay, we're looking at things like 3D shapes. Oh, mysterious, that's a strange word. And as we were saying before, we start to unpick things like, okay, mysterious, that means, oh, we've got to stay hidden. It's quiet, you've been a detective. And you can really start to unpick different elements. We can choose a language. So if I've come from the UAE, I've taught in the UAE, I can go to the different languages and I can translate that to Arabic, and then it can be translated to Arabic with the children. So that's my text. It's gone from that, I brought it into Immersive Reader, and as you can imagine, I'm able to engage the children that little bit more because I'm utilizing the technology in the classroom to break down those barriers that the children might face. This is something that I've absolutely loved, and it allows children to just feel a little bit more confident inside the classroom. Finally, we've got things like Magic Box. Now, Magic Box, in my opinion, it is magic. There are all sorts of different tools at the top that you can utilize. My favorite personally, as a YouTuber, a bit biased, is the YouTube tool. So if I wanted to type in 3D shapes, I can then search that up on YouTube, find an appropriate video, and then I can just drag that in like that. And then all of a sudden I've got 3D shapes and I can play that. The children can see that and they can have that recap of how to utilize the technology. Now, in the past, when I've been using things like Google Slides, it's impossible to play that video, to showcase the learning, and then also be making sure, right, let's have a look at some of the 3D shapes. As we're doing this and you're looking at this, tell me all the 3D shapes that you see. Tell me everything that you know. And I can be writing those different things down. Now, we already know that Phil and Laura know the cube shape, but can we expand that knowledge? Can we then start to look at, okay, where are the properties of the 3D shape? And of course, it doesn't just have to be shape, although I've shown you lots of different tools. Hopefully, by just showing you some of these different bits of technology that are integrated into the board, you as a teacher have the creativity, the life to then bring those elements into your classroom, whether it's through English, whether it's through science, whether it's through maths. I know that you have that subject knowledge to bring these tools to life. Final thing that I wanted to show you, background originals. So there's two different ways that you can access backgrounds. I use this frequently as a musician. I could use this. I do use the lines quite frequently as well. There's all sorts of different things that you can utilize. Some of the original backgrounds are in there. And if I wanted to go down to maths, down here, you can see there's all sorts. And if I keep going down, I'll find different 3D shape activities as well that I can utilize with my classroom too. And you can see there's all sorts of different activities that I can use. Oh, there we go. We've found some shape activities there. That's the maths. You can see I've got all sorts of different lines. So if I'm with my class and I want to practice handwriting, shape formation, letter formation, sorry, I can do that. One I really, really use as a primary school teacher here in the UK is this one. I can apply it to all pages, or I can just apply it to this page. As you can see, those items are there, or I can bring it into another page and I can go through the same process. I know what I've done. I can go back to that blank canvas. I can find other backgrounds, something similar, whether I want to have lines for my writing. It just makes things that little bit easier as a teacher to be dynamic in the classroom. Rather than being stagnant, having a blank whiteboard with my pens, I just know that I have that kind of one-stop shop where I can just bring things in. Once you know those different features that are available, although this is, yes, myViewBoard Master is a primary school teacher who's used it, there are still things that I'm discovering with this that I kind of think, oh, okay, that's really useful. Just today, I was shown how you can utilize these two different tools so that you can see I've got a mic with me at the moment. I might have a microphone with me. And if I've got children who are especially hard with hearing, it will say those different bits of language at the top at the same time. And obviously, I've not got that. I've got a microphone for the camera at the moment. Otherwise, I'd show you that feature. But there are so many different things that I can show you. Do any of you have any questions about how to use myViewBoard, things that you might want to utilize before we kind of wrap things up? So yeah, I just wanted to say a huge thank you for being part of this, taking your time to come and experience all the different things that myViewBoard has to offer. I probably should have had some sort of finishing slide, but if you want to see a full tutorial about how to use myViewBoard, you can go on to YouTube, and I have a 16-minute tutorial that showcases all of those different features that I've talked about and more available. So appreciate you guys coming. Thank you very much.